Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimati Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Siksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shri Srimati Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, to all of our Guru Varga and all the assembled devotees and guests, and welcome to Vedic Tales, Instructive Pastimes. Can I have that picture of Venugit too? Great. So, today we're covering one of the most important questions, a question that has been raised again and again, particularly in the Indian community, which was brought up with awareness of Radha and Krishna. The question is, why didn't Krishna marry Radha? Why, in spite of her love, did he leave Vrindavan and marry 16,108 princesses? Did I get that right? Okay. So this is a very beautiful and vast topic. Who is Radha, first of all? According to scripture, many Vedic scriptures, she is Krishna's Swarup Shakti. That means she is his inconceivable, she's actually his Achintya Swarup Shakti, his inconceivable, all-accommodating, intrinsic or internal potency. She is what makes God, God. Without power, how can God be God? He's all-powerful, all-pervasive, all-knowing, all-beautiful, all-wealthy, and so on. So without these powers, how can he be God? So she is his power. She's known as Sarva Lakshmi Mayi and Sarva Kanta Shiramani. She is the embodiment of his six opulences: wealth, fame, knowledge, strength, renunciation. And she is Sarva Kanta Shiramani. Of all of his beloveds, she is the crest jewel. We call Bhagavan Sri Bhagavan, don't we? So that Sri means that he's the embodiment of all Sris, all opulences, those six. Sri is also short for Srimati Radhika. So she is the feminine counterpart, the compassionate counterpart, the power of God. So why is it that they perform pastimes? They're one because Shakti Matayor Abheda. Abheda means there's no difference. There's no difference between the powerful, the Supreme Lord, God, Bhagavan, and his power. Surely. There's no difference between the sun and the sunlight. There's no meaning to the sun without sunlight, is there? Neither is there meaning to the sunlight without sun. You can't say sunlight unless there's reference to the sun. So why is it that Radha Rani and Krishna being the one, the combined, one without a second, absolute truth, beyond which there's nothing and no one, why did they choose to be in a paramour relationship and never ever be married? Why did Krishna choose to marry others? Okay, let's go back to some tattva, some more tattva, or fundamental philosophical truth. That is, there's no other consorts of Krishna other than Radha. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that she herself expands into all the other gopis. The other gopis, like Lalita, Vishaka, Chandravali, they're all her kaya vyuha expansions, or expansions of her own body. There are 4 types of gopis. She is a left-wing gopi. Then there's the extreme right-wing gopi, headed by Chandravali, and there are innumerable gopis in either of those 2 categories. Then there are 2 other categories, a little bit distant from that most left wing, a little bit most distant from the right wing. So you get, let's say you get 100% Radhika's camp, then let's go 10% towards the right wing. Those are Radha's friends. They're not her own party, but they're a friendly party. Then you go, let's say 90% over to the right wing, and they're neutral party to Radha, and they're friends of the most right wing, Chandravali, and her unlimited followers. But here's the nice thing. They're all expansions of Radha. And she, why does she expand herself? Because God is unlimited, and his desires for love and the variety that love offers is also unlimited. But there's only Radha and Krishna in existence. So Radha expands into so many other moods. All the moods are within her. But to give Krishna ever-increasing amorous enjoyment, her moods expand into bodies. And there's all kinds of varieties of gopis and their moods to please Krishna. And they all combine together in Rasa Lila. Not only that, but it's Radhika herself who expands, just like Ekale Iswara Krishna Arasara Brita. Krishna is the only master and everyone else is servant. And all incarnations, Advaitam Achyutam Anadir Ananta Rupam Adyanga Purana Purasham Nabajovanam Cha. Brahma Samhita states that Advaita Achyuta, Advaitam, Krishna is one, Govinda is one without a second. Achyuta, he's infallible. Anadir Ananta Rupam, he has unlimited forms, and they're all unlimited, each and every one of them. So Nrsinga, Varaha, Ram, Kalki, these are all expansions of Krishna. And although Krishna is the oldest, Adyanga Purasham Nabajovanam Cha, he's eternally and ever fresh youth. So just as he expands, Govindam Adi Purasham, just as that original Purusha, Govinda, which is another name of Krishna, meaning that he gives pleasure to the senses, the land, the cows, the gops, the gopis. Just as he expands into Matharesh and Dwarkadish and all the unlimited Narayan forms who preside over the Vaikuntha planets, he expands to the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, who breathes in and out universes, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, from whose navel lake Lord Brahma comes and creates all the planets, and Kiradakshai Vishnu, the supersoul, four-armed supersoul in everyone's heart. Similarly, the feminine counterparts of all these incarnations are manifestations of Sri Radha, Srimati Radhika. All the gopis, all the queens of Dwarka, and all the Lakshmis. Anantakoti Vishnu Loka Namra Padmajarchite, Himadri Ja Paloma Ja Varinchi Ja Varaprade. All the unlimited Lakshmis who preside with Lord Narayana over the Vaikuntha planets, they're all expansions of Radha Rani, as is Palomaja, as is the consort of Brahma, the consort of Indra, the consort of Shiva. They're all expansions of Sri Radha. So why did they choose, Radha and Krishna, that their pinnacle of relationship, why would that be in paramour love? So let's discuss that is not married, and they never marry. If Radha and Krishna want to be married, then they're married in the form of Krishna's expansion as Dwarkadish, marrying the 16,000 queens. Why is this only an expansatory feature and not the original? Why is the paramour love of Radha and Krishna more significant and lakhs times more superior than the married love? Because in this world, married love is most prestigious. A chaste wife is most prestigious lady. If she goes and has other lovers, this is abominable. It's very degraded. No one appreciates it. So, but this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Just like if you have a tree standing on the land and then it's reflected in the water and everything is upside down. So here in this world, it's most abominable to have a paramour relationship. A married man going to another woman, or a married woman going to another man. Granted. But this tree, reflected upside down tree, where the roots are up and the branches are down, is a perverted reflection of the actual tree in the spiritual world. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, by Krishna himself. So what makes the paramour relationship superior? The love or the rati of the queens of Dwarka is called samanjasarati, samanjasa rati, which means it's not sure whether or not that kind of love fully controls Krishna, because the love is divided. The queens share the love that they have for Krishna with their 11 children, 11 sons and 1 daughter. Krishna has family of 1 million, more than 1 million in Dwarka, and all of his 16,108 queens each have divided love. So that kind of divided love is not sufficient for controlling Krishna. Another aspect of that divided love is it's based on rules and regulations. That is, I am supposed to love my husband. I'm supposed to be chaste to my husband. So this is under Varnashram Dharma. It's under rules and regulations. And so the love is being acceptable and glorifiable in society. There's no risk there. Another aspect of that regulative love is that sometimes Krishna exhibits his forearm formed in Dwarka. And so he exhibits his godhood. So Krishna is God. Krishna is my husband. So I'm supposed to love him. And so that love comes to a certain height. But paramour love is not at all accepted by society. There are so many risks involved. What's most glorifiable for a Vedic lady is pativrata, vow to be chaste to the husband. The vow to society. So the gopis have given up all these Vedic rules and regulations to love Krishna. And therefore, Uddhav, who's one of the greatest devotee in Dwarka, Krishna's prime minister, his friend, his relative, Krishna himself told Uddhava that you are more dear to me than Lakshmi, more dear to me than Baladev, my brother, more dear to me than my own life. So I want you to do something that no one else could do. I want you to go to Braj, because now that I've left Braj, everyone is practically dying, especially the gopis. I would like you to go and console my parents, our parents, and console my gopis, because their love for me is the greatest. They've given up everything for me: husband, chastity, consideration of society, willingness to be condemned for loving me. And then Uddhav, after he saw their love, he was thinking, I am the greatest devotee of Krishna. But when he went to Braj and saw the extent of Radha Rani, especially Radha Rani, but also the gopis' love and separation, he felt like he was looking up to the top of Mount Everest, standing at the bottom. Like if you look up at the top of Mount Everest, standing from the bottom, what will happen? Your cap will fall off from the back of your head. So that's what he felt like. And then he authored a verse, Asamaho charanarenu tusamaham sham. That is, I want to take birth as one of the grasses or shrubs or medicinal herbs in Vrindavan, so that when the gopis, whose songs of separation for Krishna are competent to deliver, purify the three worlds, so that when they go out to meet Krishna at night for Abhisar, their foot dust will fall on my head if I'm the grass and shrubs and medicinal herbs. And thus my life will become perfect. Because they do dushtijam, swajanam, dharma pata, hitva. They gave up all these things that make a woman worshipable in order to love Govinda. Because Govinda, Mukunda's feet, are searched after by the Vedic literatures. And these feet, the gopis, especially Radharani, places on their breasts to fulfill Krishna's burning desire for their communion. This is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 30. Okay, so why is Radharani so important? Because she's important because even though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he himself says, stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I am the Supreme Personality. I am the embodiment of unlimited bliss. Just one drop of my happiness could drown the whole universe. But I become like a madman in the face of my Prem Guru Radhika's love. Her love makes me dance many novel dances, just like a wind makes the leaves dance all over the place. So her love makes me dance. Her love is my guru, my teacher, and that teacher makes my love dance many novel dances. That's why Krishna became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's thinking that Radharani's love is and happiness is 10 million times greater than mine, and she realizes and relishes my qualities of pastimes, flute playing, beautiful form, qualities. She relishes that millions of times more than I relish my own qualities. So how can I understand her love? This desire came to such an extent that he assumed the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the Krishna's body, but the mood and complexion of Srimati Radhika, so that he could taste himself as she tastes him. So Krishna never left Radharani, because everyone lives where there's the most love. So there's a statement in scripture that says that Krishna never takes not even one step outside of Vrindavan. So how is it that he looks like he's going to Dwarka and Mathura? Because his expansion of Vasudev goes. So not only can he never leave Braj, but he undergoes all kinds of activities just to get closer to Radharani. He'll stay up all night, sitting up in a bear tree in her courtyard, making the sound kuhu, kuhu, to invite her to come out. But then every time she goes to open the door, her bangles start ringing, and then her mother-in-law Jatila says, "Who's there? Who's there?" And then she stops, and Krishna goes, "Kuhu, kuhu." So all night this goes on, and finally in depression he leaves. This is a good poster. There's so many more pastimes of Radha and Krishna that I wish to share in relation to these pictures, but our time is now running over. So we'll have to do all that next time. Especially, I want to discuss this book, Prem Samput, where Radharani reveals to Krishna, who is disguised as a demigoddess from heaven. She opens up her love locket and explains the nature of her most superior prem, which controls Krishna ever increasingly, moment by moment. Okay, so we'll stop here. That was quite a mouthful. If there are any questions in regarding what I said, you're welcome to ask.
Make a message. A message, not now.
Shall we do it now or by message? Just a little bit now.
Then we just have to kind of...
Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that the queens of Dwarka are the reflections of Radha's image. Hmm?
Yeah, anyone can message you.
Now or?
How can we get the mercy of Radha Rani to live in Braj?
How can we get the mercy of Radharani to live in Braj? First of all, if it's not possible to live in Braj physically, then we can live there by mind. How to live there by mind? To remember the authorized pastimes of Radha and Krishna as given in the revealed scriptures and translated and commented on by pure devotees. For example, I have full faith in the books of my Diksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaja Prabhupada, and my Siksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, and other pure devotees. So if I'm reading their books, then I know I'm getting the authorized story, like especially in India, the most wild, imaginative, made-up pastimes goes on. Like I was looking for something, so I saw for 1 minute this video, Disney video, produced in India, that Krishna had 4 wives, Bhu, Shri, Leela, and Radha. Totally made up. By thinking of those things, no one makes any spiritual advancement. So remembering the pastimes, learning the prayers for attaining Radharani's mercy. You can read about those prayers in Mana Siksha, in the prayers of the Goswamis, in Bhajan Rahasya. Many other books contain these authorized prayers for attaining the dust of Radharani's lotus feet in Vrindavan.
You said Radha and Krishna didn't marry, but in Vandirvan there's a temple of Radha and Krishna where Krishna's putting cinder on Radharani's forehead.
Okay, so did they hear that question? So the question is, on one hand, we hear and read that Radharani and Krishna never married. At the same time, there's a place in Vrindavan, a holy place called Bandirvan, and there we see like an etching in marble of Radha and Krishna exchanging garlands and having a Gandharva wedding. So how is that? So one day, Nanda Maharaj took out little Krishna into the forest, and all of a sudden there was a big storm coming and everything became black. And there young Radharani is going like this. And Nanda Baba finds himself letting Krishna go, and young Krishna goes into the arms and hands of Radha, and she takes him into the forest. So then instantly they grow up. All of a sudden Brahma appears, the demigods appear, Lalita, Vishaka, all of her friends are grown-ups. Not grown-up, but in their budding teenage years. And then there's a big marriage ceremony, exchange of garlands, and then they come back to their young age, and Krishna goes back home with Nanda Maharaj. So that's not like a real marriage, it's like a play marriage. Sometimes when Radharani and the gopis are with Krishna, they decide to have a play marriage. So they tie the end of Radharani's veil with Krishna's chadar, like you do in marriages, Vedic marriages. And then all of a sudden they start singing wedding songs and playing musical instruments and throwing flowers. And so Radharani becomes nervous and afraid and upset, and she tries to run away, but she's tied up. And sometimes Radharani and the other gopis do that to Lalita. So these are play marriages. But at the same time, this marriage of Bandirvan, because many people criticize the Krishna, even though the marriage relationship is within them, and then it comes out as their expansions of Dwarkadish and the 16,000 queens, or even as Lakshmi Narayan. So, but people criticize, people without Sukritis and Sanskars and Vedic awareness. So, then our acharyas say, okay, you can see that they are married as a insignificant byproduct of their paramour relationship. So you can see them as married, and thus you don't have to criticize.
And there?
Hmm?
And there?
So let's end there. Thank you very much. And I look forward to see you soon. And we'll have some very nice pastimes to share. Okay. Panchakopatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. But I just want to mention that July, I've been asked to ask this by the Zoom, the Sangha Zoom team, or the International Sankirtan Day Seva team, that July 11th this year, which is the day of the cleaning of the Gundicha temple in Jagannath Puri, is declared as World Sankirtan Day. They're looking forward to 108 cities with 108 Sankirtan parties. There are already 50 cities that have confirmed, and each city that does the Sankirtan in their own city is televised and shown on this Zoom program. So your Sankirtan party would go all over the world. If you want to learn, if you want to know how to register, just go to www.worldsankirtanday.com. And that tells you how to register. And also I can post a link here of the video about World Sankirtan Day. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.